Well, welcome back into the mid-Norfolk garden. We've got the most beautiful early summer sunshine here, 7:30 in the morning. Had heavy rain again overnight. The birds are just loving it. Everything's bursting forth with the warm, growing weather that we're getting, and this garden's starting to come alive. Last of the tulips just fading very gracefully, those ones holding their blooms very, very well in this, what will in half an hour be quite a sunny border for the first half of the day. And these Aquilegia, over the last week, the amount of growth these have put on has been absolutely astonishing. What I suppose are not really hybrids, they're naturalised. This double one I think started off originally as a Mrs. Bradshaw. Some blooms are far more double than others. And then we've got some pale greeny purple ones in the background there, very subtle until you get close up. Just look at the detailing in those blooms that are held quite upright. Some of the Aquilegias have very downward facing flowers, but these forcing their way up towards the sun. The honesty, which I thought wasn't going to be very good this year, has really come on and filled in. It always astounds me how much flower you get on such a small plant. And in this self-seeded bank against this sunny east-facing wall, we've got masses of Weimaraner trampled oxeye daisy, which will be just fine. That's going to come on over the next couple of weeks and just fill in with a massive orange, yellow, white flowers here. It's going to be spectacular. There's also some valerian I can see just poking through there. And then the hollyhocks, of course, starting to grow strongly away. It won't be a long before those flower spikes start emerging upwards in this border. This time of year, this planting in front of this barn, which is the old coach house for the farm here, is one of my favourites. It's so architectural, upright, fresh growth of this iris, and then the emerging blooms. First iris just starting to come out, this beautiful pale pastel blue with the lovely furry throats of orange merging down into the centre of the flowers. There's going to be plenty more of them on here. This plant's doing quite well here, despite the surrounding and increasing competition it's getting from hollyhocks and other plants in this area. These are agapanthus growing at the back and nerines in the foreground. Beautiful rosemary flowering away against this wall. It's just a simply beautiful planting through gravel. Very little maintenance here. These late narcissi are really putting on a show. This was a tray bought from a flower auction, planted out in a row here, and they're lifting this bank when all the early flowering varieties are now well finished and been dead-headed. Still left in the green in this long grass. It's a really nice way of growing them, naturalised in this way. And on the top of the bank, this beautiful magnolia, only a couple of years old, picked out in the relief of the dark ivy and holly hedge behind, really flowering well. Sprinkling of bluebell in the foreground around its base. And there are some other later, what we call paper whites here, these little narcissi. Not particularly scented these, but as they emerge during the latter half of May, really offset the bluebell plantings underneath them and around them. Extend the flowering season for your spring bulbs by another month. Wisteria is on the south face of the farm. Absolutely beautiful this year. This one wasn't particularly well pruned at the end of last season. It's still got a lot of bracts coming away from the main stems, but we've extended this one right the way around the front gable of the house. And it is a beautiful, well-coloured variety. Some of them have a tendency to be a little grey, fade very quickly, but this one holds its colour really nicely and is doing very, very well here. Euphorbias have burst forth and upright with these lime green, almost electric green bracts at the top. Absolutely lighting this rather shady corner under a very beautiful dark pink red leaf mallow, which has been spectacular this spring. And along this border in front of the house, rhododendrons and azaleas just starting to emerge. Yellows and orange. This border will just pop over the next week. Quite a short-lived display, but absolutely spectacular. Bit of warm weather will really bring these on. Planting in the foreground again. This is a real vibrant colour planting, so the euphorbia works really well at lifting the whole thing. And scattered underneath it we've got the evergreen euphorbia. Just again, not as spectacular as the big herbaceous varieties, but lifting that canopy, which would otherwise be quite dark under there. And that competes really well with the ground elder and other weeds that we have to clear out from this bed several times a year. English bluebells at their peak in this really dry border under this enormous oak tree. It's one of the few things that survive here, but what a display it gives you. We let the cow parsley come up, that'll flower over the top of it, let these seed, and they have spread out across the path and are starting to colonise this little bit of grassland under this old Bramley apple. In the distance you can see rhododendrons flowering along the bank. And this border now, after the burst of spring colour, will be all green until those roses start flowering. That'll be the next big pop of colour in here. A good chance to get in there. Thanks, Toby. Do a bit of weeding, edging, keep it looking neat, waiting for the main herbaceous flush to come with the roses over the top. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully get on some of these sun lounges and start enjoying this garden now we're getting a little bit of warm weather.